Hey guys, Dave here with another quick review of an old game on Xbox Series S. So today we're reviewing Split Second, which is a arcade racing game that came out in 2010, um, alongside stuff like Blur, and I think it was kind of the sort of dying embers of the arcade racer, which is a genre I really love. Love games like Project Gotham Racing, the Burnout games, and Blur itself. So I was really interested to check this out. It's on Xbox backwards compatibility. I think it's constantly on sale for like £2 or £3. I think I bought it years ago. It's one of those when I see stuff like this in a sale, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy it just in case it gets delisted or whatever, which happens all the time at the moment. But that's a different video. So this is an Xbox 360 game I'm playing digitally backwards compatible on my Series S. Not sure the tech of this. I know that it does have auto HDR. I don't know if that's come across in this recording because I used a Twitch stream to record, so the visuals are what they are. But yeah, so I didn't really know what to expect from this. It's reviewed quite averagely compared to Burnout, because I think it's more you're using the environment to basically take down your opponents, whereas obviously in Burnout you yourself physically take down your opponents. It's kind of set in like a stunt movie kind of theme, which is quite interesting. In it, each of the championships are episodes of this TV show, and as you can see from the gameplay, you do like drifting and drafting and little things like that to build up a meter, and then you can use various levels of sort of environmental attacks, which is quite an interesting concept. It's very of this generation where we had more power to kind of use physics and stuff like that. So I think it's very interesting, and I think that works relatively well. I think its main sort of downside is it kind of takes away from the racing, whereas it always feels like you're never in complete control of how your race is going, which I think is a bit of a double-edged sword. I think it can be a pretty fun time, but it can also be incredibly frustrating if you're trying to get one last win for sort of an unlock or an achievement or something. So I think it is a mixed bag. I definitely think it's the type of game you play in 30 to an hour sort of bursts, like 30 minutes to an hour bursts, instead of playing like 4 hours straight. I think the frustration levels of playing this game for multiple hours would be next level. And even from the footage that you're seeing here, like, I am the fastest car I've got. I am trying my best to stay ahead, and it's just difficult. Which again, if you like difficult games, that's fun, but it's a little bit of RNG. Like, it's a little bit bullshit, I suppose. But yeah, visually, I think it looks fine. It's got that lovely sort of orangey dark tinge that all the games of this generation had, which I'm a bit nostalgic for, so I don't really mind it. But I think this auto HDR enhancement on the Series S looks pretty good. So we'll take that. I think it looks fine. It's not going to blow anyone's socks off, but I think it's a fine looking game. Again, I'm old, somewhat nostalgic for these type of games, so maybe I'm overlooking certain things, giving it a bit of a pass. Audio wise, I think the music's fine. I don't think it's licensed, because that might be one of the reasons why it's not been taken down yet. But we'll see if this gets demonetized. But yeah, music's fine. I think the car engine sounds are a little weak. Again, very snobby thing to say, but I like stuff like Forza Horizon, which pays a lot of detail to that, and I don't know, it's not real cars, so I think it's kind of generic sounding, and it's not a very satisfying crunch when you hit someone, like a la Burnout Takedown on the original Xbox. But it's serviceable. It's not noticeably bad. It's just I'm not impressed by it, I suppose. And it's kind of my overriding feeling for the whole game, really. Like, it's a fun time, but it's just not. It's not something you're going to really remember. So we'll go on to my little review ends later. Like you see, I've swum it in sevens. I've gone full IGN and decided that an average game is a 7. It's better than average. I think if you want a fun, short burst arcade game, there really isn't games like this anymore. So I think if you're on Xbox, this game is always on sale for, I'd say, under £5, under $5 or whatever. I would recommend picking it up before it does get delisted eventually, because it will eventually. and I think it is worth your time. I think it's worth playing. But I just don't think it's one of those things that you're going to play and be like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. Like, say, like Blur. I think people that play Blur are like, oh yeah, I love this game and I really wish it was still here. As this reminds me of Onrush, which of course is a game that came to Xbox One and PS4 from the Motorstorm developers, which was a fun game in bursts, but it's not a game that anyone is going to look back on. It's one of those games where I've brought up in this video and you'll be watching this thinking, oh yeah, Onrush came out, and that's kind of what Split Second is. It's a fun time, but it's not the second coming of Jesus, I suppose. But yeah, that's my little review. If you want more of these reviews, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. I do like doing them. I have got another one prepped and ready to go. But yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.